but I hope Justin gonna beat his, and we're gonna forget about Petty all our life.
Instead, that guy's going to jump Arman Tsarukyan. Arman got screwed this past week. Is exactly what happened. That's tough for him.
Dana White hate Arman Tsarukyan so much. That was my headline on this. Why does Dana hate Arman so much? He just had a dominant performance, finished the fight, was chasing the submission.
Makes this the stupidest interim title fight you could have at lightweight. Because one man is not involved. Where the hell is Arman Tsarukyan?
Arman Tsarukyan continues to dominate in the lightweight division, yet he remains largely overlooked when it comes to title contention. Analysts and fans alike are debating his path forward, noting that his next move could significantly shake up the division. Meanwhile, Ilia Topuria stirred the pot ahead of Paddy Pimblett's upcoming fight, offering strategic advice to Pimblett while simultaneously taking a jab at Tsarukyan. His message blended encouragement with rivalry, framing the clash as part of the larger lightweight narrative. He said, "Paddy, win your next fight. Hands up, chin down. And Arman Petu, this dance is for you." Not one to stay silent, Arman Tsarukyan fired back at Pimblett, expressing frustration with the ongoing commentary and growing hype surrounding Pimblett. His fiery response underlines how personal this feud has become, adding further intensity to the lightweight storyline. He said, "That guy, I hate him. He's such a If I see Paddy, I'd like to slap him." Commentators and insiders have weighed in on the situation. Wade Plemons argued that the interim title opportunity should have gone to Tsarukyan, noting that he emerged from his last fight fully prepared and unscathed.
And we'll get into some detractors of Arman in a second, but this one was a no-brainer. It should have been Arman. He could turn around. I think he even said he could turn around for January. I know he just had a fight, but he didn't take any damage and was open about the fact that he would turn around quickly. Why Arman doesn't get this shot? It has to be maybe because of the pullout.
Plemons questioned why inactivity is being held against Arman, while others, like Pimblett, face no such scrutiny, calling for a reconsideration of the title picture.
Is it because he's somewhat inactive as well? If that's the case, then we got to put Paddy Pimblett under the microscope too. We'll get into it in a second, but this should have been Arman.
Josh Thompson echoed the sentiment, pointing out the unusual sidelining of a fighter coming off a dominant win over a veteran like Dan Hooker. He emphasized that Tsarukyan earned his place in the title race, yet the UFC instead spotlighted Pimblett versus Gaethje.
Dana White hate Arman Tsarukyan so much. That was my headline on this. Why does Dana hate Arman so much? He just had a dominant performance, finished the fight, was chasing the submission or the knockout the whole time, did a great job getting the work done, made it look easy. He made it look easy against Dan Hooker, who's always dangerous. Sure, he's not the best wrestler in the world, but man, he's a joy to watch. I love Dan Hooker. I'll always tune in to watch him fight. That fight was supposed to be for the #1 contender spot. This fight now, all of a sudden, is for the #1 contender spot. It's for the interim title. That guarantees you the #1 contender spot. Where does that put Arman, and how do you see this fight going between Pimblett and Gaethje?
You said, why does Dana White hate Arman? And it's because Arman screwed what could have been the biggest event of 2025.
Conversely, Angelo Badetti offered a harsher perspective, suggesting the UFC's reluctance to immediately reward Tsarukyan stems from past setbacks. Badetti noted that Tsarukyan's earlier withdrawal from a major event may have cost the promotion revenue, and that this has influenced their current decision-making.
He screwed it. He screwed it. It was entirely his fault. Nobody else's fault. Nobody to blame. He was supposed to fight Islam in January. He pretended he had a back injury the night before. How suspicious. He pretended he had a back injury the night before, and then Islam ends up fighting Renato Moicano. It screwed up the whole card because it was supposed to be Renato versus Beneil, and like you move the whole card around, it screwed up the entire thing. I imagine they lost real money. Like I imagine the difference in pay-per-view buys from Islam versus Arman to Islam versus Renato Moicano. I mean, they might have lost $50 million. Literally, that could literally be the number, the difference between if Arman showed up and didn't show up. So he is still paying his dues. He's still paying off that debt. The UFC basically wouldn't book him a fight. They told him he's not getting a title shot anytime soon. They made him weigh in as a backup.
Looking ahead, Nick Pete proposed a silver lining for Tsarukyan. Since he cannot realistically fight again in January, Pete sees the interim matchup as a filtering mechanism, ultimately setting up a showdown between Tsarukyan and whoever emerges victorious once Topuria returns.
I think the winner here for me is, this sounds mental, it's kind of like Arman Tsarukyan. Because Arman Tsarukyan, for me, is the standout #1 contender. And if Ilya spins out in January, when Arman's just fought last week, there's no way Arman Tsarukyan fights in January. So actually, everyone's kind of having a go at Gaethje and certainly having a go at Paddy at the moment. I think Tsarukyan's the winner because regardless of who wins this interim belt, I still think this is a final eliminator to face the winner of Ilya versus Tsarukyan anyway. Now, listen, a lot of things can happen. People can get injured. Tsarukyan especially could get injured, and it could change the landscape a little bit. But I honestly thought when we left Qatar, I was thinking, wow, Paddy's going to get a shot at Ilya, man. January's going to be amazing.
Ilia Topuria also weighed in, suggesting that the clearest path for Pimblet to secure a future title shot is by facing Justin Gaethje, implying that Tsarukyan remains the toughest contender in the division and a formidable obstacle for any challenger. He said, so if he wants to assure his title shot, he has to fight with Justin Gaethje, because if he fights with Arman, I think that Arman is going to beat him. Commentary also touched on UFC marketing strategies. Jed Meshew noted that the promotion is clearly aiming at mainstream audiences, highlighting Gaethje as the co-main draw due to his action-packed style.
UFC is coming to Paramount Plus. I'll check out this first fight card. Like, that dude doesn't know about Arman Tsarukyan. That guy doesn't care. He's just going to watch some fist fights. And this is for that guy. And it's especially for that guy because we'll talk about the co-main event. The co-main event is a terrific fight. I am very, very excited to watch that fight. There is, I would say, at least a 50-50 chance that that fight is not the most compelling thing to watch for a casual observer. And let me tell you, nobody in the history of the universe has ever been like, Justin Gaethje is not fun. Justin Gaethje is boring.
Furthermore, the focus was on how UFC fans follow fighters differently. Now, Jed Meshew talks about casual viewers who just want exciting fights and may not know much about Arman Tsarukyan. This leads into his thoughts on the co-main event and why some fights, like Justin Gaethje's, are made to grab attention and keep the audience entertained, even if they're not about the top contender storylines.
Nobody in the history of the universe has ever been like, Justin Gaethje is not fun. Justin Gaethje is boring. And so you can end the night guaranteed with the Justin Gaethje fight. You are guaranteed to deliver an experience to first-time viewers.
Following Jed Meshew's point about casual fans tuning in for exciting fights, Din Thomas offers his expert breakdown of the Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje matchup. He explains each fighter's strengths and weaknesses, why this fight matters for the division, and why it's Paddy's best opportunity at a title. This builds on the earlier discussion about which matchups capture fan attention versus real contender rankings.
I personally don't think it's going to be that close at all. I mean, Paddy Pimblett's crafty. He's a crafty fighter. He's got a very strong skill set. He's not afraid to fight off of his back. He doesn't wrestle all that well, but he uses his length well in terms of his kicks. But I just think the amount of violence that Justin Gaethje brings to the fight is going to be too much for Paddy. I mean, we saw what Paddy did against Jared Gordon, and a lot of people think he lost that fight. And Justin Gaethje is not Jared Gordon. You know what I'm saying? Now, Paddy looked great against Bobby Green. That was a really quick fight. He looked great against Michael Chandler, but Michael Chandler was on a decline. I just think that Paddy, this is his best chance. We talked about Gaethje. This is also Paddy's best chance of winning a title because I don't think he would have fared well against Ilya or Tsarukyan either, but this is his best chance of winning a title.
Building on his earlier analysis of Paddy's fight, Din now looks at how these matchups affect other fighters in the division. He focuses on Arman Tsarukyan, who missed a title shot due to injury, and explains how current matchmaking decisions may delay his opportunities. This sets up a discussion on possible solutions, like fighters moving weight classes, and highlights the challenges of fitting deserving contenders into the UFC's current lightweight picture.
Well, I think he would be doing the organization a big favor if he moved up and tried to get that belt, because then that gives Tsarukyan an opportunity to fight right away, because Jed said it earlier, Tsarukyan is the biggest loser in all of this. It's unfortunate for him because he was going to fight for the title, had to pull out because of that back injury, and it seemed to be they never forgave him for that. Even though he's done everything he needed to do, he deserved this. Now he's going to have to either wait a long time or take another couple of fights before he gets an opportunity. I think it would be better for him or easier for him if Ilya was just like, all right, I'm giving up the belt, or just moved up to 170 and tried to fight Islam, because then that would clear a path for Tsarukyan to get in. Outside of that, I have no idea how they're going to handle this, because Tsarukyan deserves a shot somewhere, and I'm not sure where he fits in.
Following the discussion about title shots and contender matchups, the focus turns to Arman's personal feelings toward Paddy Pimblett. He shares his strong opinions about fighters he sees as unworthy opponents and offers support to Justin Gaethje, showing his readiness to be involved behind the scenes. This sets up his statement about helping Gaethje prepare and his clear frustration with Pimblett, highlighting the personal tension in the division. He said, "Justin, if you need help, let me know. I will fly to you and help you. That guy, I hate him. He's such a..." Din Thomas added that while Pimblett brings creativity and dynamic striking, he is unlikely to overcome Gaethje's relentless pressure, framing the interim bout as Pimblett's most favorable path to a title shot despite the evident skill gap. Throughout all this, MMA Guru highlighted the underlying frustration. Tsarukyan's fight against Dan Hooker, despite being a decisive victory, was ultimately a stepping stone for others. The UFC prioritized Pimblett versus Gaethje, leaving Tsarukyan sidelined despite proving he is ready for a championship opportunity.
There was no title shot for Arman. So the UFC just said, fight Dan Hooker. Even Dana White said at a press conference, yeah, the winner of this is going to fight for a belt, sure. Apparently not. Apparently not. So they just made Arman fight Dan Hooker and just laughed about it like, lol, we're still going to make Paddy Pimblett fight for some kind of title against Justin Gaethje anyway. Good one, Arman. Nice finish, buddy. Crazy.
Expanding the discussion, Angelo Badetti weighed in on the lightweight landscape, noting that while some contenders make sense, Arman Tsarukyan remains the standout choice for the next title opportunity. He explained why other fighters, like Max Holloway or Charles Oliveira, aren't suitable for this particular belt picture, citing reasons such as belt separation and division alignment, while emphasizing Arman's deserving position in the conversation.
Then if you want to debate the other side, Arman is an interesting debate, right? It probably should be Arman. Like I said, I think everybody agrees. But outside of that, Max Holloway is the only other person, right? Ilya's gone. It was his belt. That's why we have this. Islam's not in this weight class anymore. Shouldn't be ranked there anymore. We have Arman. Max Holloway, he is coming off a win over Dustin, but he's the BMF champion. And they don't want to commingle those belts. They don't want one person to have them both, because the reason the BMF belt exists is to have a belt for people that'll never actually be a true undisputed world champion or can't be in that current era. Charles Oliveira, we can't keep giving this dude title shots. I know people love him. He's amazing, but save him for a BMF title shot.
Adding to that, Angelo Badetti highlighted that only a few fighters are realistically in the mix. He identified Arman Tsarukyan, Paddy Pimblett, and Justin Gaethje as the only contenders with a legitimate claim to a title opportunity. Other names in the division are either on losing streaks or not positioned for a championship shot at this time.
Justin Gaethje is the next one after that. After Justin is Benoit Saint-Denis. We're not going to give Benoit a title shot, not yet. Hernando Moicano's on a 2-fight losing streak. Gamrot just lost. Physique, like, that's it. Like, that's the weight class. So the only 3 people that are even in a conversation for any sort of title fight right now at lightweight are Arman, Paddy, and Justin.
Yeah.
Finally, wrapping up, Angelo Badetti addressed the debate over whether Arman Tsarukyan should have received the interim title opportunity. He acknowledged that while a quick turnaround might have been unrealistic, Justin Gaethje's influence and excitement factor played a major role in the UFC's decision. Badetti emphasized that despite the controversy, the matchup remains entertaining and justifiable from a promotional standpoint.
So the only real debate is, should Arman have gotten it? I get them not doing the quick turnaround. Justin, I think, is being a bit of a, hey, do this or I'm out. And the UFC's looking at it. Hey, this guy's exciting. He's helped us out in the past. It's a ton of fun no matter what. Let's just do it. And they did it. So I don't necessarily hate that.
As the UFC lightweight picture continues to shift, one thing is clear. Arman Tsarukyan isn't going anywhere. Overlooked by the promotion, but undefeated in skill and determination, he's quietly building a case that could shake up the division at any moment. With the fiery rivalry against Paddy Pimblett heating up and Justin Gaethje still looming as a dominant force, the stakes have never been higher. So here's the question for you. Who truly deserves the next title shot? Tsarukyan, Pimblett, or Gaethje? And how much does UFC politics influence who actually gets the opportunity? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you love breaking down every twist and turn of the UFC lightweight division like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss our next deep dive into every feud, fight, and controversy shaking up the octagon.